How are you, my fans, sneak peepers, and curious friends? I am difficult and demanding. If you want to know my real name, then hold still, and I might bring your wish to fruition. Before we begin, you can find this podcast show in iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Blueberry, Google Play Music, TuneIn, YouTube, and Stitcher. This is the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast, keeping it real, uncensored, and shooting straight between the eyes. The third eye, that is. I am going to hit you with explicit truth. This solo show is outrageously honest and keenly witty with a view into life. Yes, I said life. That's what we do every day when we wake up from sleeping. We are living life. Well, some of us at least. Let's get something straight. Really, really straight. I am truly, actually, habitually, and shamelessly difficult and demanding. And I completely own it. Now, I don't ask for much because I expect and receive it all. I firmly believe that if you expect shit, you will receive shit. What does that mean? Well, it means expect nothing but the best and don't settle for less. As always, I, your host, Tara, am keeping it real and uncensored. Are you ready? How about this? Are you ready for me? You have to get ready for someone like me because you never know exactly what I'm offering. I'll either have your mouth wide open or on the floor. You'll have to listen to find out which one it is. So let's get you into my world and unplug you from your life and dive all into episode 63 of the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast. Tell me, what are your yearnings and desires? Do you know? Those tiny pieces of information are clues to where you are in your life. It'll tell you if you're fulfilled or not. It'll tell you if you should end your celibate relationship and embark on a new sexual journey. Your urges will tell you if it's time to shift a person from one role in your life to another or get rid of them altogether. Your passions can foretell your future. All you have to do is listen as it unveils your options. Do you live in the past, stagnate in the present, or celebrate your blissful future? Before I begin, I am going to do a call out. What's a call out? Well, it's not a shout out. I am calling out you motherfucking lurkers. If you have entered my world, then be honest with yourself about it. You want to be here, and you know I want you here, so follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Finally, climb aboard and enjoy the entire show, because I am giving you plenty of ridiculous honesty. Once the podcast episode ends, I am keeping it going on my Instagram page at Difficult and Demanding and on my Twitter page at Mrs. D&D. So there is this article that I have read. And the title of this article is called, My Husband Doesn't Want to Have Sex Anymore. Should I accept a celibate marriage or should I leave? That's what she wants to know. Now, this couple has been married for a number of years, and they say that it's mostly a happy, friendly, supportive relationship. Now, before I proceed forward, I want to make sure that I'm very clear. Just because this couple happens to be married, I don't want any of you to think that this doesn't apply to your situation. If you've been in a relationship for a while, and for some of you, a while can be 2 weeks, 2 years, or 22 years, it really doesn't matter. It all depends on the state, the nature, the connection of your relationship. So before you write this off to yourself as saying, this doesn't apply to me, I think you should take a few moments to listen to what the hell I have to say. Okay? So now that we've established that, let's go forward. This woman said that their marriage is mostly happy, friendly, supportive. happy, friendly, supportive. Now, I don't know about y'all, but from what I get from that goddamn statement, I don't hear anything about passion, desire, horniness, sex appeal. I don't hear shit. What I hear is two best friends who happen to be fucking married. I don't hear any spice. I don't get no from this shit. So I'm trying to figure out what the fuck she's confused about. You are happy. You are friendly. You are supportive. That's called a goddamn friend. Now, some of y'all like to fuck your friends, but to fuck your friend, you have to be attracted to him and her. Him, her, whatever you got going on, you have to be attracted. There's no chemistry that I'm hearing here. I'm hearing happy, friendly, supportive. That can be a family member or a best friend, but we're going to move on. She said his interest in sex declined after the children were born, and it came to a full stop 5 years ago. This woman has not been banged in 5 goddamn years. How in the hell you have dick laying next to you? I'm doing a drum roll because you people can't hear me. I'm tapping my fingers. I want to tap my fingers, but I can't because it makes a horrible sound when I'm recording. So I'm tapping in the air and not have anything for 5 years. You had enough to produce the kids. But after the kids were born, that shit came to a complete stop. Shit, fuck, shit, fuck, shit. That's crazy. Let's keep going though. She asked to go to therapy several occasions, several times, and he considered it and declines. He considers it and declines. You are married. You have a spouse, a significant other with needs. It's clear those needs are not getting met. This partner of yours is asking for your assistance to solve the problem, and you really don't give a fuck. I'm trying to figure out what more signs do you motherfucking need if a person's not interested in you. They don't give a fuck about helping the situation, and they really don't care about touching your ass. What more do you need to know? What more do you need to know? And you're saying, well, if you've invested this amount of years, this many years, this person owes you something. You owe it to one another. Clearly, you're the only person that feels that something's owed because your spouse, your significant other, your husband doesn't feel it's necessary to explain a damn thing to you and really doesn't give a fuck about getting help. How many times you gonna keep barking up, knocking your head up against a motherfucking wall or barking up the wrong tree? He said he has no interest in a physical fucking relationship. Now, guys, if someone tells you that they have no interest in a physical relationship with you, I'm asking you, do you really have a marriage? How can you have a marriage? And we're going to go more to detail about what that means because a marriage can be different things to different people. But if you started a relationship on the premise of being romantic, of being intimate, and you have come to a point, a juncture, where someone's telling you, thank you, but no thank you, I do not want to touch your goddamn ass, literally or figuratively, I would say your relationship is not what you think it is, and it has changed. She said after several attempts at negotiating and suggesting to go to therapy, she resigned herself to the fact that he has zero interest in sex and even less in talking about it. Why the fuck you stay around for 5 years? You can't clap with one hand. You need 2 hands to goddamn clap. And from the sound of it, you are clapping in thin air Or you feel like bitch slapping a motherfucker. You probably have better luck bitch slapping someone than trying to clap in the air. No interest, no communication, no touching, no help, nothing. But you're staying by this person's side, unfulfilled. It's clear that he's unfulfilled also on some level, which is why he has no interest. So you have two unfulfilled people who are happy, who are friendly, and who are supportive. If you were supportive, you would be getting banged. If you were friendly, he would be speaking to you. And if you were happy, you would be getting your brains fucked out of your goddamn skull. So clearly, it's not happy, it's not friendly, it's not supportive. And she says that life is much more peaceful if I don't bring it up. If I'm not getting fucked, fuck peace. Listen what the fuck I said. She said if I don't bring up the conversation of him and I being intimate or having sex, life is much more peaceful. Let me tell you this. If I want to get fucked, I want to get banged, call it whatever the fuck you want to call it, there will be no peace. There will be no motherfucking peace in this goddamn house. Let's be clear. She's talking about if I don't bring it up, life is better. No, motherfucker, no. See, you picked the right one. Because if you picked me, hell no. I'm not going down like that. No. Fuck that shit. I'm sexually frustrated. I'm trying to talk to you about this shit. You don't want to have a conversation. And I'm trying to say, well, if I don't talk about it, we will be okay. No, fuck that. I'm dropping bombs. I'm tearing shit up. I'm making my point across. Hell to the no. Fuck peace. That's not real peace. Because if you have real peace, you could be able to have a conversation about this shit. He's not even interested in having a conversation with you. So clearly there is an undercurrent of anger, of resentment, of disappointment, of heartache. There's a whole bunch of shit going on about the scenes, but you're talking about how things look. How things look is that you don't have an accurate look of what's going on behind the scenes. You'd rather have peace than get to the fucking problem. Look, there is no peace. If there is no dick, there is no peace. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is how it works. That is how it's going to be. I don't give a fuck who, what, when, how, or why. You cannot sit here in my goddamn face and tell me no. Or actually, you're not even saying no. You're saying, I don't give a fuck and I don't want to talk about it and get the fuck out of my face. And if you don't get out of my face, you got a problem. Well, let me tell you something. We got a problem. Actually, you got a problem. You got the problem. You cannot let someone shut you down. You cannot let someone stonewall you. You cannot let someone take your choice away. No, if you want to hold the position as a husband, as a wife, as a girlfriend, as a boyfriend, as a lover, then you got to perform the duties in accordance to that motherfucking role. And if you can't perform your duties and your responsibilities according to the role or the title that you have, your ass is getting to get fired, demoted, laid the fuck off, or call it what the fuck you want, because it doesn't work that way. But I will get into that a little bit later. There's a few things I need to get into. So we're going to proceed with the story. She said, celibacy is not my choice. I miss sex along with the intimacy. No one can force you to be celibate. Let's make that shit goddamn clear. You see, we get into these relationships and we seem to think that our choices, our rights, what we need as people, as individuals, that shit seems to cease and desist. I'm trying to tell you, no. Just because you are in a union, in a partnership, in a relationship, you are still an individual. You don't merge yourself with a person just because you happen to be in a union. It does not mean that you two people become one. You don't become one. You are still individuals who are operating by choice in a relationship. Why in the hell you gonna let someone take your choice to be sexually fulfilled away because he or she has no interest at all or has no interest in your ass? If someone makes the choice not to step up to the plate and not to have a conversation with you as far as what is going on with them or what is going on with them in your relationship, and you have tried and tried and tried and tried again, at that point in time, you say thank you and you get your shit taken care of. Now you're saying, Tara, that's wrong. Wrong according to who? You know what's wrong? When someone neglects you and rejects you, that is wrong. When someone strings you to fuck along and tells you some shit that's not true, that's wrong. When you're sitting around with your motherfucking hands open, your legs fucking wide open, bust the fuck open, and no one's coming, that is motherfucking wrong. So you can't sit here and tell me that someone chooses not to be intimate, romantic with you anymore, and because you happen to be married with them, you owe them something. How you gonna owe them something when they don't owe you shit? Cause they cut your shit off. They turned the fucking tap off. They turned the tap off of your ass. They said out of business, shit is shut down. We are gone. I ain't got nothing to offer you. Now, if that's what your significant other's doing to you, they're stonewalling you. They're shutting you off. They're shutting you down. You're trying to tell me because you're married, because you have a piece of paper, because you made a verbal commitment that you are going to still hold yourself up to some standards? How the hell you going to play this shit this way? Listen to what I'm saying. Two people get in a relationship. You agree, I'm going to do this, this, and this. You're going to do this, this, and this. And we're going to do this, and we're going to be in a marriage. Time happens. Shit happens. Life happens, right? All of a sudden, person's not able to perform certain tasks to 100%. Okay, you cut them some slack. They go down to 90%. Some more time goes by. They go down to 80%. You cut them some slack. They go down to 70%. They go down to 50%. They go down to 40, 30, 20, until they got motherfucking zero. How much slack are we willing to leeway? We're willing to give people. How much? What are you willing to sacrifice for that? Why are you willing to sacrifice for that? You see, if you work in a job and you stop performing your duties, if you stop performing certain duties to a certain point, you will lose that goddamn job. So why do we stay in goddamn relationships where people are not doing what the fuck they agreed to, what they signed up for? Why? You're saying life happens, things change. Yes, life happens and things change, which means you need to adapt. You need to supplement. You need to complement. You may say, okay, I can't do it this way, but my love, I can give it to you this way. Why do we seem to think that because we get married, we're committed, we're in a relationship, that we can slack off on what the fuck we need to do? We can make excuses. We justify. We think that we're committed, that this person owes us something. They need to stay with us. I'm telling you, no. A relationship should be handled with clarity. You're choosing to be with someone for a reason. You chose this person over all these other people in front of you, right? You chose it because they had something to offer you that you wanted, that they had to offer, and it benefited your life. Well, if a person's not performing their duty, their job, up to task, up to par, I'm asking you, why are you staying in that relationship? Because you have history? Fuck history. If your needs are not getting met, and the person has no interest in fixing the shit, or they feel justified in depriving you and making you sacrifice, I'm saying that business, that relationship, that's over. Either you do or you don't, or you will or you won't. You can or you cannot. It's unacceptable to stay in a relationship with someone who are not doing what the fuck they need to do. Now, I'm not talking about life or death situations. I'm talking about situations where people are clearly shutting you down, shutting you off, telling you no, making up excuses, making up lies, just come up with this, and the other. I'm talking about the bulk of those situations. I'm not talking about things where shit happens and you have the control over. Sometimes life gets off track and you got to bring it back and you get back to the rhythm. But if things have gotten off track in your relationship and the things have not gotten back on track and you're staying there clicking along like a goddamn clock and your needs are not getting fulfilled and that person's not performing their duties, but you're still being loyal, you're still being dutiful, you're still being honest, why are you going to do that shit? That is not an equitable situation. That is not a fair, balanced situation. Because you have history. Clearly, your history is not enough for that person, for the other person, that they want to step up to the plate and deliver. We have to stop making excuses for bullshit. We have to stop making excuses for things that are right in front of our face. We see what we want to see. We hear what the fuck we want to hear. What we need to do is see what the fuck is written in front of our face. If you have needs, whatever they are, and someone is not willing, not able, or not ready to perform, you need to evaluate how important that need is to you. You really need to evaluate it, because if it's really important, you sitting in silence, swallowing it, holding it down, sucking it down. No, that's not right. That's not right. So you think what? You are selfish because you love this person. You've loved this person. You've been with them. And now for some reason, they're not able to do certain things. So you feel bad for what? Abandoning them over this. They don't feel bad abandoning you. They don't feel bad rejecting you. They don't feel bad neglecting you. So why are you holding yourself to a higher standard? We're saying someone has to be the bigger person. I'm going to call bullshit on that shit. You need to be the bigger person to yourself. You got to take care of you first. How are you sitting there benefiting someone deprived, disgrunted, miserable, resentful? How are you benefiting? Who are you benefiting? Oh, you look good. You look good, but you feel like shit. You look good. You have shit. You look good. You're being fucking deprived. You look good and you're hollow. You're wasting time, money, energy, and effort on a fucking facade. I sound harsh? I'm going to call it as I see it. I don't know where we come up with this bullshit. This nobility, this integrity, this loyalty to some shit that's a fucking farce. 2 hands clap because 2 hands are working together to clap. But if one hand is not clapping at all, if one hand is clapping to another rhythm, if one hand is not telling you that it's moving up or down or slowing down its pace or is injured, you can't clap properly. And if the person cared enough about you, they would step the fuck up to the plate and say, hey, this is what's going on. This is the deal. I don't know what it means. I know what I see. I know how it impacts me. I see how it impacts you. What do you think we need to do about it? Because I love you enough to not let you sit here and suffer. I love you enough to realize that you need this, this, and this, and I'm not able to give that to you anymore. So my love, I still love you, but what would you like to do about it? That's a grown ass conversation. But people don't want to do that. You let things be taken away from you. And it's being taken away from you at a small, minute scale that you don't pay attention to it. You don't notice. All you know is you go from having sex every day to once a week, to once a year, once a month. But you're sitting back letting that shit happen. You're hoping, you're wishing, you're praying that what you see is not what it is, and what you see is going to get back on track. But it never gets back on track. So you're worried about looking selfish? Because if you do something, it's going to be blatant. It's going to be overt. The person who's not fulfilling your needs when they agree to, they're doing covert tactics. They're doing passive aggressive tactics. They're depriving and depleting you for whatever reason they have. But the fact is you're being impacted by that shit. So she says, celibacy is not my choice. I miss sex along with intimacy. No one has taken away from your choice if you don't let them. No one can take away your choice if you don't let them. You think because you agreed to be married, you agreed to be in this relationship, that life is over, life stops. No. You see, I'm from a very progressive, audacious type of mindset. You can't hold position in my life with a certain title and designation without doing the motherfucking job. I don't go around giving fucking jobs to fucking pawns and peasants. You want to be a king in my motherfucking court, then you need to perform the duties of a king. You want to be a fucking god in my world, then you need to perform the duties of accordance. You can't say I want to be a king in your life and you in my life and you act like a fucking pawn or a peasant. It doesn't work that way. I will behead your ass. I don't deal with frauds. I don't deal with perpetrators. I don't deal with posers. People want shit, but they can't do the work. They promise you things and they cannot deliver. I don't deal with half-ass, pussy-footing, half-stepping motherfuckers. If you want to fuck with me, you need to bring it. You need to bring it all day and all damn night. Now, if you have an off day, I'm okay with that, but you better make it up the next motherfucking day or the day afterwards. I don't deal with excuses. And we have been brainwashed to think that because we agreed to be in a relationship with someone, because we have history with someone, because we used to have passion and love with someone in the past, we seem to think that over time things fade and change. Yes, over time things do fade and change. You know why they fade and change? Because the people in the relationships fade and change. And because people don't realize that you have grown apart, you're different, you're distant, you have different needs. And instead of reconciling with that shit and agreeing to move on peacefully or figure out what to do to fix it, you just go chugging along like a choo-choo train. Chugga-lucka, 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 chugga-lucka. And as time goes by, and you get to say, man, aren't we great? We look so good. We're still together. Who is that for? Who is that image for? Who is it for? You're not fucking. You're not touching. You're not communicating. You can't stand the scent of one another. You can't stand to look at one another. You can't stand to touch one another. And you're sitting there fucking fantasizing about other people. Who is this image for? You think because a relationship went from working to not working that makes you a failure? No. This is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. Things change. And when things change, it does not mean that you have failed. It just means that things have evolved. We evolve as people. Our spirits, our personalities evolve. And sometimes they evolve together. And they evolve together for a certain period of time. And then there comes a time, for some, for most, not all, you evolve apart. And instead of recognizing that you've evolved apart, you try to keep something together that's meant to go. You hold on longer than you're supposed to. Just because a relationship worked, has worked, is working. If there comes a day, and I say the word if there ever comes a day where it's not working, it's not fulfilling, it does not mean that you have failed. It just means you have met the end of the life cycle for this particular relationship. Listen to what the fuck I said. We look at relationships as a measure of who the fuck we are and what type of person we are. And I'm here to burst your goddamn bubble. Everything has a duration. Some things last longer than others. Nonetheless, you cannot stop the expiration of something that is meant to end. You can delay it. You can stall it. But what must end will always end. You can't stop that shit no matter how hard you try. Listen to what the fuck I said. We don't like to let go. We hold on. We paint on happy faces. We try to make shit work. We swallow. We suck it up. We sweep it under the rug. We fucking water the shit down, put it in boxes, lock it in a fucking treasure chest. All these different things to hold on to some shit that's already dead. Because to admit that a relationship is dead and over, it means that you failed. And I'm telling you, it does not mean that you have failed. What that means is that you have graduated. When you leave preschool and go to elementary school, does that mean you have failed? No, that means you are moving up. When you go from elementary school to middle school, does that mean that you have failed? No, that means you are moving up. When you go from middle school to high school, does that mean that you have failed? No, that means you are moving up. And for those of you who have chosen to go to college, if you go from high school to college, does that mean you have failed? No, that means you have grown. You are moving up. So if a relationship has served its purpose, it has met its duration, it has That is expiration. It does not mean you have failed. That means you have grown. That means you have evolved. That means you have gotten whatever you need to get from that relationship. And it's time for you to move on, to grow up, to grow more, and move to the next phase, the next chapter of your life. I need to reiterate that to you people. We stay in shit longer than we're supposed to because we think we break up, we go our separate ways. That means we're useless. That means we're a failure. That means we haven't tried. That means there's something wrong with us. And I'm telling you, all that shit is fraud. It's not true. We stay in relationships as long as we're supposed to. They work as long as they're supposed to. When it stops working, that means everything that you were supposed to have, learn, experience, and know from that relationship and that person, you have gained all the wisdom that there is to gain. And now it's time for you guys to take that newfound wisdom into your new relationship and grow even more and evolve even more as people. When you stay in relationships longer than you should, you stunt yourself. You stunt your growth. You stifle your life force, your energy. Life is meant to move, to go, and to flow. And when you hold on longer than you're supposed to some shit that's dead, you're saying to the world, I don't want life. I don't want to be fulfilled. I don't want bliss. I don't want growth. I don't want joy. I don't want abundance. You need to understand what I'm saying. Stop looking at ending relationships as a failure. There's a way to end relationships that's respectful, that's loving, that's compassionate. But when time is up, time is up. And when the time is up, you should have peace, comfort, and steadfastness in your decision. And you should be able to say goodbye with love and thank that person for their time. Ending relationships does not mean you have failed. What that means is that you have succeeded. You have succeeded in the lessons that you were supposed to learn and go through the experiences you were supposed to have. It is success. And it's now time for you to move up to the next grade. I know that's out there for some people. But if you think about what I'm saying, I know it resonates. It makes sense. And I know deep down it feels good and feels so much better. When you change your perspective on things and situation, it liberates you. It takes those shackles off. And that's what I'm about. You are not a failure by ending your relationship. You are not a failure for wanting more and needing more. That is your soul and spirit speaking to you saying, I'm done. I need something else. It's time to move on. Yes, you've had a number of years. Yes, you've had happy times. Yes, you've had unhappy times. Yes, you've been friends and supportive, but you can always be friendly and supportive. You just don't have to be married or in a romantic relationship. You don't have to give the relationship completely. You just have to give up enough to open yourself up to a new romantic encounter. So she wanted to know, do I end my celibate marriage even though we are very good friends, parents, and partners? Well, depending on what your definition of a marriage is, that will tell you whether you should end it or not. She wanted to know, do I seek a supplemental relationship? Well, if you have an honest conversation with your spouse and say, hey, this is what I need, can you give it? They may say, no, I don't want to, I don't give a fuck, or act like it's not an issue. Then you say, okay, I still enjoy my companionship with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some dick on the side. I won't rub it in your face and I will get my needs met that way. And then you hear what the person says. And if they say, okay, good, you keep your marriage, whatever that is, and you have your sausage on the side. If the person says, no, you cannot do that and stay married to me, then guess what? That either means that you have a celibate marriage or you move the fuck on. At the end of the day, you always have a choice. Why did I say bring up having a supplemental relationship directly? Why not? We're grown ass people. We're grown ass people. I got with you to get fucked. You ain't fucking me. Try to have a conversation with you. You're not interested. Trying to get help with you, you're not interested. Ask you to go get help by your damn self, you're not interested. So what the fuck you expect me to do? You expect me to sit here by your side, horny, wet as hell, I got nothing going on? No, motherfucker, no. That's not gonna work. You can't give your power of choice, your power of self away to someone else just because you are married. You got needs for a reason. And apparently your spouse has a need not to fuck with you. So since that person is fulfilling their needs not to be intimate and romantic with you, then naturally, I would say you have a right to get your needs met. Now, you think that's wrong? I don't give a fuck. You think it violates a marriage? I don't give a fuck. You know what violates a marriage? When someone's neglecting you, they're rejecting you, they're withholding from you, they're stonewalling you. That's not a marriage. That's some bullshit. So if you want to play that game, I can play it with you. We're not here to be deprived. We're not here to compromise. We're not here to sacrifice some shit. If you don't want the job, step the fuck out of the role and let someone else take your goddamn place. Now, she got an answer from someone, a therapist, and the person said that, sexual issues are common in marriages. And she said that she must feel extremely lonely, rejected, angry, helpless, and confused. Yeah, she should feel all those things. She forgot to mention she probably feels horny as hell and unattracted. She doesn't feel attractive at all. Now, how is that a happy, friendly, supportive marriage? How is that? And the longer she sits around accepting this shit, the more likely nothing's going to be done about it. And you're saying, well, they have kids. Oh, yeah, they have kids. So what does kids got to do about it? The kids need the mother and father. The kids will always have the mother and father. What does the mother and father, being a mother and father, got to do and taking care of the kids got to do with her as an individual and getting her needs met? They have nothing to do with one another. You're saying, well, she can't be a mother and father. She's out screwing someone else. Being a mother and father has nothing to do with someone being a grown-ass, horny-ass adult and getting their needs met. Being a mom doesn't mean that I am now sexually void. They have nothing to do with one another. Being a father doesn't mean that you have to go through having sex withheld from you just because you're a father or husband. Nope. That's some bullshit. That's some shit some people put in your head. I'm telling you people the truth. Being a mom does not mean anything about getting your brains banged the fuck out. Being a dad does not mean that you shouldn't be rode into the motherfucking sunset. Rode off a goddamn cliff. That has nothing to do with anything. And you need to understand that shit. That doesn't affect your ability to be a mother and father. When you say, well, if I cheat or I go have another relationship, then the person may take the kids from me. Why would someone take the kids from you by going get your individual needs met? You don't have the kids sitting there watching you. The kids are not participating. The kids have nothing to do with this. So why are we bringing kids and some other irrelevant bullshit into this conversation? The fact is this. You are a husband. You are a wife. Are you doing what you agreed to do? Yes or no? If the answer is no, then either you're going to get it together or your ass got to go. But because you got to go, it does not mean that you can stop performing your duties as a mother, as a wife, or as a husband or father. That has nothing to do with it. There's many different levels and spaces in regards to human beings in our relationship. And we like to say, well, if we cheat or we seek some other type of relationship to get our needs met, then we're a horrible person. Oh, okay. But the motherfucker that wasn't doing what they're supposed to do, they're not horrible. They're a victim? Come on, guys. You know someone's with you because they want sex. That's part of the equation of relationship. You're not giving it. You're tired. Your ass hurts. You got a fucking hangnail, whatever. You're not bringing what you need to bring, or you're rationing it. You are withholding it. Whatever shit you got going on, the fact is you're not doing what the fuck you're supposed to do. And because you're married, you are in a relationship or committed relationship, you expect the other person to deal with your bullshit. And people actually do. You do. You let people pull these fucking stunts of you, withhold, play tricks, do all this shit, manipulate you, and you take that shit. You eat the shit that they give you. I'm telling you, you don't have to. Then you're going to say like, oh, I seem cruel. I seem baseless. I seem selfish because this person's a good person and I'm doing all this for sex, for sexual needs. I don't know about y'all. What you don't get, sex is a part of human nature. It is vital component to our well-being. Now, some people need it more than others, and some don't need it at all. But the bulk of us need it in some way, shape, or form to some extent or degree. So you're trying to say the person that's withholding, it's okay for them to do that. But the person who has needs and gets sick of being patient and waiting around, they are wrong for going to get their needs met someplace else. No, they're not wrong for going to get their needs met someplace else. What they're wrong about is not telling people up front what the fuck is up. See, people don't operate like me. I'm going to give you a chance and say, hey, this is the problem. How can we solve it? We come up with solutions to solve it. They don't work. I'm going to come back to you again and say, okay, this didn't work. What are we going to do? At some point when this shit stops working, I'm going to come back to you and say, look, this is not working for me. I need X. You can't give it. These are our options. These are my options. What do you think? I'm going to hear what you have to say. And then I'm going to tell you what the fuck I'm going to do. And you're going to tell me how you feel about it. And we can decide to stay together or not. That's what the fuck is up. I'm not giving my power of choice away to anybody. To no one. No one at all. You're saying that's cruel. No, that's not. You know what's cruel? Me being unhappy. Me being unfulfilled. I got one life to live. Why am I going to piss that shit away on some other person's bullshit? They don't know themselves. They were pretending in the beginning to be something they're not. Why should I forego my life, living my best life, because someone else is lost, confused, and don't know what the fuck is up? No. Just because I love you doesn't mean I have to sacrifice myself. Just because I committed myself to you does not mean that I wash away, water down what it is that makes me an individual. No, they don't go hand in hand. When a commitment, a relationship steals away the essence of who you are, prevents you from getting your needs and wants fulfilled or met, I would say you need to end that relationship. All relationships should enhance your life. There should be more benefits, more positives than negatives. And if the positives don't outweigh the negatives, I would tell you to fucking bounce. What the fuck are you waiting there for? Or you living off of a fucking past? You living off the past, how things work? Why are you going to live in the past? You need to live in the present. Because if the present's fucked up, you can't go back to the past. You can only live now. And you can't live in the fucking future. All you got is now. So if now doesn't look good and you don't have a plan to make tomorrow look better, I would say you may need to say goodbye. But who the fuck am I? Who am I? You rather look happy, look supportive, and be friendly, and deep down feel lonely, rejected, angry, helpless, and confused. Let me give y'all some real shit. Life is full of cycles. The life cycle. You have the life cycle for trees. You have the life cycle for humans. And there's a life cycle for relationships. When we choose to come together with a person, it's because they are there to teach us something, whether it be good or bad. And once those lessons have learned, it's time for you to move on and move on to someone else. Now, some of you people may be in relationships and they're meant to last all of your life. Some for a short time, some for a medium amount of time. But everything has a life cycle. And you must be able to identify that life cycle. You must be able to identify the beginning and the end. You have to read the signs. When you read the signs, then you know how to navigate and pivot, and you don't get blindsided. You don't get blindsided. But everything has a life cycle. And when it served its purpose, you need to understand that and be ready to move on and grow. It's okay. It's okay. If a farmer planted a carrot, that carrot grew and they harvested that carrot. If that farmer didn't plant something else, we would not have any more food. Listen to what I'm saying. Farmers plant a seed. The item grows. They get it out of the dirt. They sell it. They cook it, whatever. But then they have to go back and plant again. The same thing goes with relationships. You start relationships. It goes through the life cycle. Some may last all your life. Some may not. And when the life cycles come to its end, it's time for you to basically plant a new seed and start a new growth pattern with someone else. That doesn't mean that you failed. That just means you've graduated and it's time for you to move on. But we have to identify that and see that for what it is. Now, here's another piece of information. Your yearnings, your interests, if they have evolved or changed over time from what they used to be, that's a clue that you have changed. Now, if you and your significant other have changed together, that's even better. But that doesn't happen all the time. And depending on what overlaps and what does not overlap, that can make or break your relationship. But that's okay, because you're meant to go down different paths and take different turns, and that's a part of life. And that's why we need to be able to say hello and goodbye with much ease and with love and respect, so we can navigate life in a much more timely manner. Now, earlier in this show, I started talking about what a marriage is to you, what a relationship is to you, what a friendship is to you. You have to define that and know that shit with great clarity and confidence and steadfastness. For some, a marriage may or may not include sex at all. For others, friendships may include sex, friends with benefits. The point I'm making is, instead of us using the definition of what a marriage or a relationship or a friendship is supposed to be, that generic definition, what I'm asking each one of you to do is to come up with what a marriage means to you, what a committed relationship means to you, what a friendship means to you. Come up with your own definition. Come up with your own list of roles and responsibilities of what, if someone's in your life, what you need and what you expect from them. Because your personal definition will dictate a lot. If a marriage for you, sex is not necessary, good. Because when your relationship goes from having sex to no sex at all, you won't be fazed, you won't be bothered at all. And you will continue to be happy in that marriage. But for others, if a marriage entails kinky motherfucking sex, and you go from having kinky sex to plain vanilla missionary type of sex, then I would say that person's not doing what they agreed to. The relationship has changed. Now you need to decide, has your definition of a marriage changed? Or is it time for you to change your marriage up and move on to someone else? And you're saying that's cold and calculated. That's one way to look at it. The other way is, if someone is not able to perform the job to what they agreed to, and I'm not willing to adjust what I expect, then naturally I got to find someone else to do that job. We are meant to be happy, and you can't be happy unless you're self-aware. We cannot be happy if you don't have self-love, self-respect, and make self-honoring decisions. We're too caught up in thinking about what other people think and how other people feel. The fact is this: we don't invite anyone off the street into our life. We invite people in our life for a reason, for a purpose. And when they no longer serve that purpose, you have to determine what position they hold. Because let me tell you this, if you're with me and you're not performing the roles and responsibilities that you agreed to and that I said I'm looking for, then I have to look and say, okay, what am I willing to compromise on? What I'm not willing to compromise on, if I'm willing to compromise at all. And then I have to start evaluating, do you still hold that place in my life as my husband? Maybe you need to go from my husband to a good friend and me get somebody else who can fulfill my needs. That's point blank adult shit. And we need to start evaluating things like that. You don't go around giving titles and positions to people who cannot perform the roles. And if they used to be able to perform the role and they cannot anymore, you thank them for their time, but you need to replace their ass. And it's as simple as that. If relationships are not fulfilling, they're not fulfilling your expectations, and you try to resolve and it fails, it's time to shift the person to a different category. It's time to shift the person to another role of responsibility. And I'm serious. Why is our love and loyalty for another greater than for ourselves? Yes. Why do we have greater love and loyalty for another than for ourselves? You and I both know a number of you in a relationship, so you're not being fulfilled, but you're staying in that relationship because it looks right, and you don't want to have to explain why you are basically sexless, horny as hell, and feeling deprived. You don't want someone going around saying, you know what? This person left this good woman or good man for sex. They must be demented. They must be dirty. They must be soiled. Something must be wrong with them to leave such a person. Why is the person who wants to get their needs met, why is something wrong with them? Why is there not something wrong with the motherfucker who are not doing what they're supposed to do? This is what the fuck I said. Why are we blaming the other person for being honest enough to get their needs met, and we're not turning around looking at the person saying, see, huh? Why are you in this person's life and not doing what you're saying you're going to do, huh? You know you're wrong, girl. You know you're wrong, guy. You told them you're going to do this, but you're not doing it. Why are we not looking at the people who are not doing what the fuck they need to do? Why are they safeguarded? Why are they safe kept? If you are in my life, you are there for a motherfucking reason. And if you are not fulfilling those reasons, then you need to cease and desist being in my life, or you need to get your ass fucking demoted or lay the fuck off. It's as simple as that. Why do we look badly on the people who basically don't give a fuck and want to get their needs met? We need to change our mindset. It's a fucked up mindset. We give, pass cards to people who aren't doing what the fuck they need to do. And then we're looking at the other people who's saying, I need more. I'm going to get more. Then they're the villains. It's warped. It's really screwed up. It's really screwed up. When we determine that we want to shift a person from a certain position in our life because they cannot do what they agreed to do, we must always do it with love, respect, compassion, and honesty. The stuff that I'm talking to you about, it's bold, it's audacious. But at no point am I telling any of you to do it with disrespect, to do it with hate, to do it with disdain. No, you treat that person in a loving, compassionate, human way. But you be honest. You have to be honest. You don't have to be an asshole about it, but you need to be honest. You need to make them understand. And if they don't understand, that's okay. But at least you spoke your truth in a self-honoring, respectful way. You can always keep the person in your life. You can keep the connection in history. But you have to understand that if they're not doing what they need to do, their position in your life needs to change. Their position in your life needs to become different. And it's because of them. It's because of their choices and their lack of performing their role. I told you before, this shit happens in corporate America all the time. You get hired to do a job. You do the job well, you may get promoted. If you don't do the job well, eventually you're going to either be fired, laid the fuck off, or put onto a performance improvement plan. And if you don't get through the performance improvement plan, you better believe your ass is going to be fired or laid off. So why not handle relationships that way? It doesn't seem human. It seems very human to me. It's very human when you're not wasting each other's motherfucking time in life and you're going on living your best life. We must strive to live our best life. We must not strive to eat bullshit ass excuses and waste our time on shit that's not working. Life is too short and too bountiful to be dealing with unnecessary bullshit. Got any questions? Find me and ask me. But the fact is this. We need to grow some balls and some fucking backbone in this bitch and get it together. Now, is it right or wrong to shift people in your life, out of your life, or demote their ass? You know what's wrong? Stagnation is wrong and going backward is wrong. Yeah, stagnation. That means no movement. We're supposed to be progressing through life. You start off having sex and relationship to having no sex at all. That's called stagnation. That is wrong. Or when you are in a relationship and things are not working the way it should today, but you're still living in the past, you're still living on some motherfucking dreams that used to be, that is fucking bad, because that means you're not in the present moment. You need to be in the present, trying to figure out the best way to live your best life. If you're living and looking in the past, remembering how great things used to be, that means you're hiding, you're escaping, and you know what? You're not fooling anybody. And if you have resigned yourself to a horrible celibate life with no intimacy and no romanticism, I say that's some bad bullshit also. Why live life if you're not living life? Why have a life if you're not living life? We have to stop accepting bullshit and making excuses for people and why they're not doing what they need to do. You give solutions, talking about it, ignoring it, or you leave. You have to decide what's best for you and what's most important to you. And you need to start making moves in accordance. Because life is about change. How you handle change. Do you hold on too tight? Do you ride the wave of change? Or you let it run the fuck over you? Life is about change. And we need to learn how to recognize the signs and ride that son of a bitch for our benefit. Ride the momentum to manifest what we need, we want, we hope, and desire. We have to stop making excuses. We have to stop turning a blind eye. We have to stop all this blind loyalty and obedience and acceptance of bullshit. We have to stop placing others before ourselves. You are number one in your world, in your realm. And just because you are in a relationship, that doesn't change that shit. Being in a union does not mean that you cease to be an individual. You were an individual before the relationship began. You will be an individual after fucking relationship begins. So you better believe that you need to be an individual in that relationship. Don't merge yourself together. Don't water down your needs and wants, your hopes, desires, and interests. Fuck that shit. That's how you got that person. That's how you captivated them. Have a life. Live your life. Being in a relationship means that you don't forego your life. You don't forego the things that you enjoy and what brought you bliss. Fuck that shit. And if anyone asks you to do it, you need to kick their fucking ass to the curb. You need to stay an individual. You can be an individual and be in a relationship. That's like telling two hands that like to clap. Okay, two hands left and right. You will no longer be left and right. You will be one hand. No. You need the left hand and the right hand to clap. You can't clap with one fucking hand. So if you merge two hands together, you cannot clap. So what is my point? You need the left hand and the right hand to work together. You need two individual people to work together to have a relationship. But when that person stops doing what they need to do, you need to go back to your definitions. You need to go have an honest conversation. You need to give the person an opportunity to fix it. And if they don't do so, then you need to start making fucking moves and have no regrets, no remorse whatsoever. You gave the person a chance. They pissed on it. Now you move on. Relationships evolve because your heart, your spirit evolves. And if a person's saying, I don't like who you are, I don't like how you've changed, I don't like what you've become, that's okay. Because that means your heart, your spirit has changed, and your heart and spirit never lies. It shows you the truth. It shows you your future. And when you ignore your yearnings and your needs, your hopes and desires, what you're doing is you're fucking with your future. You're delaying your blessings. You're delaying it all because you have some type of fear or inability to go with the flow and move on. What you need, your spirit knows. It knows what it does need. It knows what it doesn't need. And frankly, your spirit doesn't give a fuck about what's working or not working in your relationship. Listen to what I said. You begin a relationship because you're in love. Everything works. Over time, things evolve and change, and you're not happy. Your spirit's telling you, I'm not happy. I need this, this, and this. You can't get this and this and this from the person you're with. So your spirit is getting stronger and stronger and getting you to move in another direction that gives you what you want. But what you do, you fight your spirit. You try to lock it away. You try to hide it. You try to make things work that it doesn't work. And then you end up making a really fucked up decision because you lack the courage to do what you need to do. Your spirit doesn't care that you've been married for 10, 15 years. All it knows is that time is up. It is over. It's time for you to move on. And it's your job to wrap that shit up as expeditiously as possible to move on. It doesn't care. All it knows is that you have passed, learned all you need to learn, and it's time for you to move on. Then it's up for you to take that cue, that clue, and start wrapping up loose ends, saying goodbye, and parting ways. That's how life works. That's how it's supposed to work. All I'm saying is whatever you do, how you decide to do it, you need to do it with love, respect, and compassion only. Only. But when it's time for you to start making moves, you need to make fucking moves. You don't keep making excuses and sitting there with a fucking silly ass look on your face knowing that, hey, I'm not being fulfilled, but at least I'm still in a relationship. No. You know you can't do it. Especially when you know you can no longer stand the person, certain aspects of them or the relationship, when you know that that is crucial. Why pretend? Why think things are going to change? Yeah, some people say you need to work on it, you can fix it. You can work on it and fix it. But those are rare and special circumstances. When the time is up, the time is fucking up, and you need to understand that. You need to have a thought process. This is what I need. This is what I said I wanted. This is what the person said they could give, they would give, and they're not giving it. What am I going to do? Stay, leave, or compromise? Simple as that. Don't let anyone take your choices away from you. But we stay around, like I said, because we're scared of our image. We're scared of our image. And we're scared of how we're going to be judged with our truth. We're scared of how we're going to be judged on our truth. We don't want to seem like a sex-crazed nymph. We don't want to be seen as a liar or cheater. What I'm saying is don't give a fuck about that. What people need to start doing is looking at the other person who's depriving you, because that's cruel also. Your truth is the true truth. Your truth is the true truth. And if you are not getting your needs met, then you need to understand that it's okay to go take care of yourself. It's okay to do what you need to do. You're worried about being selfish or selfless? Why? You'd rather be seen as selfless than selfish. Selfless and unhappy, or selfish and happy? I'm saying stop caring about what other people think and live your life. Live your life. Time waits for no man or woman, and if you waste your good years away on some bullshit with some false notions in your head about what you're doing, you're going to miss the best years of your life. If you still got a libido and your spouse or partner does not, and you can't stop or deny your urges, how long can you keep masturbating and fantasizing? How long can that suffice for you? We need to touch. We need to touch people, be with people. We need to fucking feast. We need to enjoy life. I know things happen and, things fall off the tracks for a little bit of time. But at the end of the day, a good bulk of us, we need sexual intimacy. We need to connect. We need to touch. Naked, full body. We can go for a short period of time without that shit, but eventually it starts impacting our health. We need what the fuck we need, and we need to get rid of the taboo, the stereotypes, and all the judgments about sex. We need it. It's not dirty. It's natural. It's not a crime. It's for our own wellness. And you need to understand that. But to have sex, you got to have some balls. You got to have some backbone. You have to stand up for yourself. Like I said, sex is important, and we devalue it as not being important. We want blind loyalty and unwavering commitment. Yeah, people expect, I gave you sex for a number of years, and I don't feel like doing it anymore. Life has changed. I got stretch marks, whatever. You didn't get promoted, whatever excuse we have. But the person expects us to have blind loyalty and unwavering commitment. You want me to have blind loyalty and unwavering commitment, and you are not doing what the fuck you told me you're going to do? Nah. To have that position of having blind loyalty and unwavering commitment, you got to earn that place. And even after you earn that shit, you got to sustain it. Listen to what the fuck I said. We get in relationships. We have history. We love each other. We do all these things. Things change. The person's not doing what they used to do. They're not doing what they can do. They're not doing what they could do. And all they have is a bunch of bitch ass excuses and a fucking title or a marriage certificate that they hold over your head and keep you shackled from taking care of your needs. What I'm telling you is fuck that shit. Someone wants blind loyalty and unwavering commitment from you. They need to have earned it originally, and they have to keep earning it, which means they have to sustain that role. They have to sustain that privilege. If they are not doing their part and they're relying on the past and came up with some fucking sort of entitlement, you cannot use the past as a form of entitlement to guarantee what you can or cannot do in the present and future. No, that's bullshit. Listen to what I'm saying. People get in a relationship. I know a lot of guys feel this way. Women offer up sex. Then they get you committed and all of a sudden sex is off the table. It's on the fucking holidays and maybe when you can find a fucking mistletoe. Right? What I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you some new age shit. And this goes from male to female. If you got with a person and they are not performing their role, they earned it, but they're not doing what they need to do to sustain that shit. Yes, sustain. That means day in and day out. For the most part, they are bringing what the fuck is expected. If they're not bringing it, then you demote their ass. And as far as I'm concerned, you kick their ass to the curb. No one should have an entitlement. No one should have a right to be in your fucking life with a position and a title. And they're not working for that. People think as you did some past work that guarantees the present and the future. No, that doesn't guarantee the motherfucking thing. Your past just shows history. History can't feed you today. You got to work today to eat today. Yesterday can't feed you for today. So if you have people in your life who have earned a position, a place in your life, but they're not doing what they need to do to sustain it because they're your wife, they're your husband, they're your longtime committed partner, it's time to shake, rattle, and roll. It's time to pull the rug from up on the motherfucker's feet and give them a fucking reality check. Because when you find one, you will find another one, another one, another one, another one. I know you guys don't want to believe that. You think this is it, but I can guarantee you there's always somebody else. And the better your attitude, the better your energy, the faster you will find someone. So, if someone's not sustaining that role, their position in your life, you need to be ready, willing, and able to have a performance improvement conversation with them. And if they don't step up to the plate, chuck them and fuck them. That's what I said. Chuck their ass to the curb and fuck them. Move on. I seem cold. I'm done with deprivation. I'm done with sacrifices. I'm done with the fucking excuses. Either you got it or you don't. Either you will or you won't. You follow through. You complete your commitment. You do what the fuck you say you're going to do. I don't care how you get it done. Get the shit done. If you're not bringing it and you're coming with excuses and you expect me to be loyal to you, no, you don't get that shit. You get it when you earn it. You get it when you sustain it. If you're not earning it and sustaining it, you can kiss that shit goodbye and kiss my ass on the way out. Simple as that. I'm in a phase of my life where, you know what? I plan on blowing motherfuckers' minds and dropping bodies on the goddamn street. That's what the hell I said. I'm in a phase of my life where I'm done with deprivation. I'm done with excuses. I'm done with sacrifices. I'm done with compromises. Either you bring it or you don't. Either you will or you won't. Either you're ready or you're not. Either you stand the fuck up or you sit the fuck down and get the fuck out of my way. What that means is you let a real motherfucker who can do the job take your place. And if you want that position, you earn that position. You earn that position. You need to sustain that shit. Nothing in life is for free. And if you want the role, the honor, and privilege to be in my presence, to be in my life, you need to understand what a blessing that is. And you need to work to keep that shit. If you're not willing to work to keep it, I'm okay with that too. Because there's always somebody else that's lined the fuck up sooner rather than later to take your goddamn place. Life is meant for enjoyment. Life is meant for those who want to live. But if you get tired of living, you get tired of enjoying, that's okay. That just means I'm the wrong one for you, which is why I said I'm blowing minds and dropping bodies in the street. I'm not fucking around. And I'm not going to let someone jerk me the fuck around. I know what I want. I know what I need. I know what I desire, and I know what I'm going to get, and I'm going to get it, and it is going to get met. You hear what I said? I'm going to get it, and it is going to get met. My needs are going to get met. We lose ourselves in relationships. We bury ourselves in relationships, and we justify our lack of fulfillment. We make excuses for people. We feel bad for people. Having compassion doesn't mean being a fucking sucker. It doesn't mean being a sucker. You have to take care of yourself. You really do. You have to do a better job at taking care of yourself. You cannot allow this stuff to go on. Just because you're in a relationship does not mean you cease to exist. And we need to understand that. A relationship ending is not a failure. It does not mean you're a failure. It just means job well done. You got everything you need to get. You now realize your time to move on, and you're preparing to move on, and you wish everyone well. It is success. So if any of you have any questions, you know where to find me. I've said some out of this world audacious stuff, but if you sit back and think about what I'm saying, you will understand it. You may not agree with me, but you will understand it. It's all a matter of how you choose to live your life, how you want to live your life. I'm just sharing with you how I live mine and how I view life. I believe you should expect the best and don't settle for less. That's how I live my life. I bring it, so I expect it to be brought to me. I don't half-ass pussyfoot, so you better believe you're not serving up any excuses to me. I live to fucking blow minds and drop fucking bodies on the street. So you better bring your A game when it comes to me. That's my dance. That's my rhythm. You have to choose how you live your life. You have to understand who you are and what you are. But what I said is this. If you want a title, a position, a role in my life, you got to earn that shit. And then after you earn it, there's no guarantees. You got to sustain your efforts to keep that place in my life. Because if you don't, I will tell you goodbye. I will demote you. I will lay you off. And I will get what I need someplace else. One life to live. Make the most of it. Live your best life. Come back and join me next week.
Are you disappointed this has come to an end? Well, it doesn't have to. Reach out and let me know what you think about this episode and my podcast. You can try and slide into my DM, but I will kick your ass out. So I suggest you hop into my DM on Instagram at Difficult and Demanding or Twitter at Mrs. D and D, or leave a comment on one of my posts.
So, which one was it? Is your mouth open and watering? Or have I left that son of a bitch on the floor? Either way, I'm sure you have taken something away from this episode, something other than me. Nonetheless, I always have something for you, something new every week. Episode 64 is here on February 8th, 2019 from the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast.